Welcome to the Transform My Dance Studio podcast, the only podcast dedicated to helping you grow your dance studio while reclaiming your life. It's Clint Salzer here, the CEO and founder of the Dance Studio Owners Association. And for the next 8 weeks, we're bringing you a very special series of podcast episodes with dance studio owners Jane Grech and Melanie Gard, who are also part of our Inner Circle program. Over these next 8 episodes, Jane and Mel will be sharing their own challenges, successes, experiences, and advice as dance studio owners. Welcome to this very special podcast event at the Barre with Jane and Mel. I hope you enjoy it.
Right, let's go, Miss Jane.
Dust your shoulders, Miss Mel.
Dust your shoulders. Actually, it's dust your shoulders. We are back at the bar, Miss Jane and Miss Mel, dusting our shoulders, and today we are talking about fun.
Fun. And Miss Mel's on the decks. DJ Mel.
Yeah. It is one of my favourite tracks, Dust Your Shoulders.
Perhaps you best share the story about Dust Your Shoulders.
Dust Your Shoulders. Yes, so I was playing back one of our early podcasts, and it was playing, I don't know, somehow when I played it back, it was playing in iTunes, and at the end, Dust Your Shoulders started playing out. It was obviously the next track, and it was quite funny. So it's become a little bit of our anthem, I feel.
I think so, and because you and I are pretty high-level hip-hop artists as well, I think makes it all the more funny. That's a bit of Australian sarcasm there.
But we do have the wonderful Trish Gomez to thank for that. She's given us hip-hop in a box. Get onto it, everyone.
Unleashed my inner hip-hopper.
Yeah, same. Now, Jane, how are you today? You good?
I'm good, yes. I've been really looking forward to chatting with you. I always do, and it's become something that, you know, I look forward to the podcast being released, and then sometimes I listen to them in the car and I'm like, oh, I think we might have forgotten that we were recording then, but that's okay. I think that's what's nice about it, is that actually we do just have a chat, have a cup of tea. It's like we're all sitting next to each other. And it might not be for everyone, but it's definitely for me. So I'm very happy to be back chatting with you.
Yeah, same. I feel exactly the same, Jane. And interestingly, we are talking about fun today, and I think you and I tend to have a bit of fun. Even when we're talking about serious things, we somehow manage to end up laughing.
Yes.
And I think coming back to a really sort of basic level, you and I both really value that. And
yes,
I was having a look at our organisational core values, and I know you and I both have a value area within our studios that's very similar. Mine is fun and engaging, and yours is enjoyable and energetic.
You've done your research, Miss Mel.
I have. Well, I know them well. I didn't need to research too far. So I think that is reflective of both you and I. You and I like having a good time, and if I'm going to go to work every day, I don't want to be bored. I want to be myself. I always say when I walk inside my studio, it is my happy place. And I want to share that with people. I don't want it to be a place that kids come into and feel not happy.
No.
I don't know what the word for it is.
That is, I think the opposite of happy is sad. But you're right. And I mean, some people might, fun's not for everyone. You know, we're all different creatures. But we have identified in ourselves that we value a laugh. It's really important that we create an environment that is reflective of us and who we are. I'm one of the most serious people that you will get when it comes to dance education. Like, I take what I do so seriously, but I don't think taking something very seriously and really living it and having fun need to to be in separate boxes. I'm convinced that the two can be combined, and that's how I try and live my life. I try and do everything to the absolute best of my ability. I over-research things. I take my responsibilities very seriously. Even at school, I was like the lunch monitor or something. I took that very seriously, but it didn't mean I didn't have fun while doing it. And that's, basically my life philosophy right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I was remembering back, my teacher used to get quite offended when people would say, "Oh, we just want our child to have fun. We just want them to have fun." And she would be like, "But no, this is serious. We only get one body, and we must train it." And she was really, really passionate about that, passionate dance educator. And I really agree with you, Jane. I think the two can coexist. We can take very seriously the education and training of our dancers. But for me, I don't learn very well when it's boring.
No.
I am not engaged. If I'm listening to a webinar, if I'm in a lecture, if I'm at a course and the person up the front is
Yeah, monotone.
Yeah. They've got no stories to tell. They don't inject any kind of, fun in amongst it, then I switch off like I do.
Yeah.
It's no fun. And the same thing with our kids. I mean, you can see it when they're being taught by someone that's monotone, that has no energy.
Yeah, they glaze over.
They're not learning much, I don't think, anyway.
No. And it's not just in the studios, is it, with the kids? I mean, you've got a big team like I do, and even if there's only 3 in your team, or 2 for that matter, we are at work for quite a long part of our thing, and I really enjoy. I'm the naughtiest possibly in my team, and I'm not setting out to be distracting or anything like that, but I'm setting out to try and create an environment where laughter is encouraged, both in the studio and in my office, that while we take what we do seriously, we don't take ourselves too seriously. A lot of the time I do that by laughing at myself, it's a bit, and because I feel like that's safe. Yeah. I can't offend myself. So quite often I'll pay myself out and tell funny stories. If I feel like the atmosphere is a bit tense for whatever reason, I'll try and throw in a funny story. One happened just a couple of weeks ago that my office team and I are still laughing at. I got Uber Eats delivered for lunch, and I was really hungry, Mel, and we were having our stand-up meeting in the garden. You've been to my studio, so we often try and have it in the garden just to get some fresh air. And my phone went ding to say my lunch had arrived just as a car came in to the car park. So I stalked the car. I followed it while it parked, and then I stood by the door for the guy to get out to give me my food because I was so hungry. And it was not the Uber Eats guy. It was just
a person.
It was just a guy going to the physio next door. And so I was like, "Hi," and he said, "Hi." And I said, "Oh, you don't have my euros." Right. Now, that's a great story because it's funny and I'm paying myself out, and it's also sadly very true. But I shared that with all my class that night because I was like, "How's your day? Tell me, how's your day been? Because let me tell you about mine." And, I think it's good to be able to have stuff that happens to you and then laugh about it. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially for those young people, it's such a painful time, those teen years when kids are so self-conscious, and I really enjoy doing that too, Jane, paying myself out on stuff and laughing at myself and showing them that it's okay. We don't have to be perfect. I think I was thinking about this more too, that actually, there's a really wise person that I know. I can't think of her name. And she says this saying, and it says, where the leader goes, so too does the culture. Do you know who says that?
Yeah, well played. I stole it from somebody else, but I can't remember. And in fact, there's a funny story about that too, is that I heard someone speaking and he was retelling a story like you just did then, like, I heard this thing. He says, the first time I borrow a phrase from someone, I let people know who I borrowed it from. The second time I say, oh, now this person said, and the third time he goes, I just pretend it's mine.
I just own it. Well,
so I think we can all do that. So maybe you said that, Miss Mel, where the leader goes, so does the culture.
It's very true though. And I know on the days sometimes, like when I'm feeling a little bit maybe frazzled or overwhelmed and I bring that energy into my team, they pick up on it straight away.
Oh, don't they?
See it happening and I'm like, right, stop. I need to stop myself now. And that's not to say that your team can't be there to support you when you are facing challenges. I mean, my team are really good at that. They know when I'm under the pump and under pressure, and they'll often go above and beyond to help me out where they need to. But it's also being really conscious as a leader, isn't it, of what you're bringing in to the office and the team, and the energy that you bring inside is what will come back at you. So if you're constantly moaning, the team are going to moan too, aren't they?
They sure are. And this, for me, I think, is, aside from the difficult conversation piece, when I speak to leaders and emerging leaders, they suggest that having difficult conversations is probably the least favourite part of being a leader. But for me, also up on that list, I would say, is having to be the person that is the positive, energetic self. And to be honest, it's great that you've said that your team, lift you when you need it. Mine don't always, but to be honest, that's not their job. That's not their job. I have to get that from someone else. From you, or from my family, or from the networks that I'm in. Because when I've stepped up to be the leader, when I've stepped up to be the teacher, I've taken that role on, whether I like it or not. And sometimes, Mel, it really gets me down because I think, bloody hell, it's always me up here cheering everybody on with my pom-poms. But where's my pom-poms? Where's my cheer squad? I've got to go and get that somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I've been chatting with you about mirror neurons. Yeah. So on a scientific level, we have these neurons. I feel like a bit of a neuron most of the time. We have mirror neurons, and that's what causes us to sometimes reflect other people's moods. So, and that comes right from when you smile at a baby. It's the beginnings of empathy. When you smile and laugh at a baby, that they're more likely to smile back at you. Not always, we know, but quite often they will. And so when you bring that energy into the room that is a bit low, you are most likely going to get that mirrored back to you because of the mirror neurons. And then from there it can spiral, can't it? Everybody gets lower and lower and lower. And sometimes you just have to have the self-discipline to rise above it and leave your shit at the door.
Exactly. Well, I'm starting induction with a new teacher that's working with our team now, and that was part of our induction conversation yesterday, that pretty much leave your shit at the door. When you open the door to the studio, you walk on inside and you're on. It's performance time.
There's some great quotes here in this podcast already, aren't there, Mel, for our beautiful producer, Mel at DSOA, who's been putting quotes in our copywriting, and I think she's just got 2 gold nuggets there.
Gold nuggets, Mel. There you go. Perfect. But it's true, isn't it? And it's not just inside the studio. It's at the door. You know, you walk inside into reception, those parents, the kids are there, they're watching you, your every move.
And shoulders
and dragging your feet.
Yeah.
That impacts on the vibe in the studio. And I'm really, really strong on that with my teachers that, you don't get to do that here. This place, I'm really protective of that because I want the parents and students to come in and go, wow, this place feels good. And I can tell you, I've had so many people come inside my studio and say that to me. It feels really good here. And they can't pinpoint one thing necessarily, but it is the energy.
Oh, definitely.
Dale Kerrigan, it's the vibe.
Back to the vibe.
The vibe.
It definitely, that's funny for me for so many reasons. My leadership team have a meeting once a week and we have to say, you know, what were our wins for the last week. And the last couple, Brian's been saying just the vibe. So you're not allowed to say that anymore. You need another win. But it is true. And we've had comments as well, you know, about the feeling that when you come into the studio, and I think, you know, our walls do suck that energy in. You can feel when you go into a place whether it's a happy place or whether it's a not. And, you know, dance is meant to be fun, guys. Sure, do it correctly. Get your children in the right alignment. Use safe dance practices. Warm up. Get the line in your arabesque correct. Like I said, I am a stickler for all of that kind of stuff, but I can still laugh. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to be fun. And if you're not having fun, what's the point, pun intended?
Absolutely. And it doesn't mean, I think sometimes people get confused with having fun means you're not working hard. And I think, especially when you think about our older students, of course, you know, our little kids, we want those classes to be really engaging and fun and, you know, the kids are learning through play and all those sorts of wonderful things. As they get older, I think, you know, there's a bit of a mentality in the dance world that, you know, we almost have to rule with an iron fist and, you know, and for me, that just doesn't sit well with me. I mean, there's definitely an air of respect and self-discipline for me. It's about, you know, I say to my students, this is not about me disciplining you. This is about you learning to respect the space that you're in, and that's about self-discipline. That means you have a bun in your hair when you walk into this room.
Oh, yes.
You know, all of those things. Yes, it doesn't mean we're just, like, here to do whatever.
It's not a free-for-all. We're not crazy. There will be buns in your hair. We're not losing the plot completely. And the thing is, like, fun isn't silly, right?
No.
Fun still has guidelines, like you're saying. But fun is laughter. Fun is that positivity. Fun is making a joke. Fun is having a culture where, you know, you can move from fun back to work in a click. A click, you know, and say, right, okay, oh my goodness, look at the time.
Yeah. And that is a skill, isn't it? That's the I was thinking about it like you're kind of on a tightrope, you know, you're treading that line between, if I tip over this way, we're like, I've lost the kids, they're gone, they're all
they're gone.
You know, and then we go the other way and I've lost them as well because they're disengaged and they're bored. So you're constantly treading that line between, you know, having a laugh, you know, making it engaging and interesting and right, you know, let's work now, let's do this. And
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
I think it is. And sometimes I've gone too far. I'm going to put that on the record. And sometimes I have been pulled back from going too far by my students who have gone, Miss Jane, and I've gone, you're right. You're right.
Stop now.
Because I love a laugh. I'm a bit of
I have this class on I have this class on a Thursday night, and it's, you know, when you get those group of kids that are just hilarious. So they're 6 and 7 year olds, and I'm very blessed. I have a pianist that plays for this class. And every week her and I look at each other and we're like, what are they going to say today? And I just hang off every word because they're very dramatic. And sometimes in that class, I've just let them go because I want to see what they do. And then I look at my peers, I'm like, oh, whoops, too far. I've lost them.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. And, you know, they would look forward to that. They would get in the car. This is my favourite thing, is like when I get in the car and I'm giggling to myself about something that's happened in class. You know, I'm dead tired and I've earned my money. But I get in the car and I'm recalling a conversation or something that happened, or, you know, somebody tried something and failed miserably, but we all had a little bit of a giggle about it and they took it on the chin type thing. And I smile and I might even laugh out loud.
Yeah.
And then I think of my students doing that in the car on the way home.
Yes.
That's cool, isn't it? You know, like, and I know, I mean, you've got Olivia who dances at your studio and I've got Alana, and there are sometimes she gets in the car, excuse me, and she's on such a high, and I was like, good class? She's like, yeah, it was really fun, you know, but she's sitting there and she's recalling stuff and kind of having a bit of a giggle, and to me that's just awesome. That's the best.
So good, so good. I remember one of the best days I'd ever had. We'd had this big rehearsal at the studio. There was like far too many kids there. Massive day. I was absolutely exhausted, and the kids all sort of spilled out into the car park and left, and then there was a parent that was still there, and she came up to me and she said, what on earth did you do in there? And I'm like, I'm not sure. She goes, I have never seen that many kids. She said they literally bounced out.
Spilled out, yeah.
They were skipping and laughing and giggling. And she said, what did you do? And I was like, I don't know.
I don't actually know what happened.
All right. So, Jane, we are going to wrap up this conversation because you and I will just keep giggling and talking and
yes, and that's not okay.
Be dropping out. So I guess I'd love to finish with, we have this idea of top 3 tips, and you can give 1, 2 or 3 tips. It's up to you. But what are some of the things that you do to be intentional at your studio to make it enjoyable and energetic?
Oh, this is an easy one for me. I've got one really hot tip, but you have to live it and own it, and that is dress-ups are always fun. I do own, as you know, a big banana costume. I've been a banana. I wear a lot of the costumes when they arrive. In fact, I'm about to go and pick up a new box just after this. I think it's great that I'm the same size as some of my students and I get to try their costumes on first. I might have put some of the bright pink sizing leotards on over the top of my teaching gear and done class in it. Anything to get a laugh, really. Like I said, I am a bit of a clown. That just shows the kids that I like to laugh, I like to have fun, and that's okay, that's valid. One of my naughtiest moments was when I got my speaker with my wireless mic because my voice was giving up on me, and I put the speaker in the garden, my fairy garden, and they're still talking about this. And then I sat behind a window so I could see the students come up the garden path and then made the fairies talk to them, and that they still talk about that. You know, like here's the principal of their dance studio being a fairy voice. I was like, hello. So that might have been a little bit borderline silly, but in answer to your question, I just like to dress up and have fun, basically. And I'll, do a dance off every now and then, or I might use different music. We just had our massive rehearsal on the weekend, and we had a dance, we were practicing the finale, and I kind of winked to Brian as if to say, just let the track play after it, because I knew what song was coming on, and it wasn't Dust Your Shoulders, sadly. But I knew that it was like an uplifting track and that they'd all just spontaneously burst into like a dance off and have a bit of a battle. And they did, and perfect, whereas I could have just cut the music off and be like, right, that's great, everybody. Thank you for rehearsal and see you next week. Nah, have a dance off.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Mel?
Joyful.
Yes,
it's
create joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't think I need to add anything to that other than to say you need to send that banana across to me.
Yes, yes, it is.
My banana split party.
It's on its way. It will arrive to you. And I loved getting, even that, I loved getting your message that was said, can I borrow your banana costume? I'm like, this is two grown women sending a banana across the states.
I love it. I often giggle when I look at my to-do list around concert time and I think, oh my goodness, if anyone found this, because it does have random things on it like bananas and
paint the pumpkin,
the cow head and
I love it. We're all with you on that one.
All right, dear. Jane, well, I am going to sign off now with a little dust your shoulders. Dust your shoulders.
Go and have fun, everyone.
Next week. See you, Jane.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of our exclusive series At the Bar, powered by the Transform My Dance Studio podcast. For more training, resources and support specifically for dance studio owners who are wanting to grow their business while reclaiming their life, we'd love you to join us in the Dance Studio Owners Association. For all the information, go to dsoa.com. Take care and we'll see you next week.